How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. Now on today's show we're going to be talking about Aston Villa because they've made a new signing. We're also going to be talking about Leeds United because they have been fined for breaching FA rules. And the last piece of news involves Arsenal because reports are saying they've made a bid for Lyon's Houssem Aouar.
I represent my fucking self.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. That's right.
So the first place we're going to start is Aston Villa, and it's a big signing for them. And it's Ollie Watkins from Brentford on a 5-year deal. Now this transfer, in terms of its price, is absolutely massive. Apparently they're going to pay an initial fee of 28 million. And then it could potentially rise to the 33 if add-ons and all those extras are met. But for Aston Villa to be spending around about £30 million is absolutely massive. And for Brentford, I suppose it's too big a sum of money to be turning down. 5-year deal, like I was saying. He travelled to Birmingham late yesterday. And the deal is done. And he is now an Aston Villa player. And he had a brilliant season at Brentford, don't get me wrong. The goals he was scoring and everything else. And they actually beaten West Brom to his signature. And, you know, they were looking at him as well. And I think the big thing for Brentford, what, you know, changed things around for Ollie Watkins last year was when he moved from the wing and then out of nowhere, he just started banging in goals left, right and centre. He joined from League 2 club Exeter City, and he signed for less than £2 million in 2017. So I'll tell you something, that is one hell of a profit. When you look at that, that's mad, like how much profit they've made. And for a club like Brentford, like I was saying, that is absolutely massive. They're going into their brand new stadium for the first season, and they're going to have to, you know, deal with the whole COVID situation and no fans coming into the new stadium, which will obviously affect them. They lost the playoff final, so they got to stay in the Championship when they could have been into the Premier League. And it'd be interesting to see what actually happens with Brentford now, especially when you think that some of their big players, they could well be losing. This is the big issue that Brentford have. If they would have got into the Premier League, then a lot of their big players, maybe even the likes of Ollie Watkins, would have turned around and said, nah, I'm going to stay at Brentford. I'm going to, you know, stick to where I'm comfortable and where I'm having a good time and, you know, see what life brings in the Premier League with Brentford. But because they never got promoted and they are back into the Championship, a lot of those players will be looking now and saying, right, we've got ourselves on the map. We've done something that's attracting interest from Premier League teams. And this might be my only opportunity. What happens if I had a poor season at Brentford because Brentford themselves had a poor season? What happens then? My dream move to the Premier League may never materialise. It may never happen. So I can understand why the likes of Ollie Watkins has looked at it and gone, yeah, I'm going to, you know, make the move now. And, you know, 26 goals last season. And like I said, the big change was when he moved from a winger to a striker. And it just changed everything for him. And I was watching him a few times in the Championship last season and seeing the goals that he was scoring. And he was just lethal. And of course, stepping up to the Premier League, it's a big step. And it remains to be seen whether he'll be able to make that step. But you've got to give him the chance. But it's a lot of money to, you know, put on somebody that was a couple of £1 million 3 years ago. But this is what it is. This is football. Brentford have got what they wanted for him. And Aston Villa will look at it and say they've got their man. And I suppose a lot of teams, you know, maybe a bit higher up than Aston Villa, with all due respect, will probably look at what Ollie Watkins does. If he tears up the Premier League, then you can most definitely start to expect some big names knocking on the door. But Aston Villa, they will be in the driving seat then. And they can say, well, look, 30 million then, done this in the Premier League, 60 million now. It's the way football works. Simple as that. But Aston Villa get their man. And Ollie Watkins is an Aston Villa player. Next up, we have a story involving Leeds United. The reason why I laugh with Leeds United is that they always seem to be getting into trouble. I don't know what it is with their manager, Bielsa. I love the guy. I think he's so infectious. I think that the things that he does, you remember the whole Spygate stuff and everything else? Well, they've now been fined £20,000 and warned about their future conduct after admitting a breach of FA Rule E20 by using pyrotechnics after their game against Derby. Now, the game was behind closed doors. They'd already won the league. It was their first game after, winning and everything else. And I believe actually won the championship and everything by this point. Now, there was something between them and Derby. This whole Spygate thing and everything else. And I think it was Derby players that went to Ellen Road once before and they won the game. And then at the end, they were all doing the binoculars. I think it was something along those lines. So there was something between the history of these two sides anyway. But at the end of the game, Leeds United players started letting off flares to celebrate. And yeah, they were initially fined £30,000, but the fine has been reduced to £20,000 because of mitigating factors. That no one was threatened or endangered by the conduct and no one was injured. And there was not an immediate admission and an apology from the club and everything else. So they took that into consideration. And I suppose the fact that it was behind closed doors is what got them away with it. Because if they went and did that, with the Derby fans inside the stadium, it could have been very insightful in terms of what it could have reacted in terms of what the Derby fans would have done and everything else. So I suppose you can't get away with doing that in a full stadium. You can't go to teams in the Premier League if fans are allowed back this season and start lighting off flares and whatnot. And it's actually a rule within the FA Rule E20. I never knew that. So I wonder if that rule applies for me and my club, being the fact that we're FA affiliated now. I wonder if we win the league this season, DTFC, if I go running on the pitch lighting flares, I'm going to end up being in breach of FA Rule E20. I'm going to have to go check that one out and find out whether I'll be in breach or not. But yeah, Leeds United, they've been fined. It does make me smile because genuinely, I love Bielsa. I think he's a breath of fresh air. And it is what it is. You just got to smile about it, ain't you? Last piece of news involves Arsenal and Houssem Aouar. And I suppose there's a million ways of pronouncing his surname. I hope I've got it right. I know for a fact it's definitely not some of the ones that I've seen pronounced. But I think that's close enough. But yeah, reports were saying yesterday that Arsenal have lodged a bid with Lyon of £55 million and it will be accepted. And they're just sorting out the finer details. Now, I saw a picture, I think it was late on Tuesday evening, and it was of Edu, and I think it was his son that actually posted it on Instagram, and he was in his garden with a barbecue and a big fat cigar in his mouth, and people were joking about and saying that looks like the sign of a man that's just gone and secured a big transfer to the club. And Arsenal fans have been going on at the admins about Partey and Aouar, and whenever they post anything, they're the two names, the memes, you name it, everything's being mentioned because Arsenal fans want this guy and Partey. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, who do we need more? And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, it's a difficult one. I'm going to be greedy, I want both, but I just feel that creative side and that piece of the jigsaw that he could bring would be very, very important, and one part that's missing massively. And it's not saying that we don't need Thomas Partey, don't get me wrong, because we can do big time. I would love Thomas Partey, but if you had to pick one or the other as to what's the most important right now, because what we've got to remember as fans is that we're not going to build the team to challenge for the title immediately this summer. if we get these two in that I'm mentioning, then my word, we're going to have one hell of a team that can most definitely challenge for the top 4 at least. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Lyon are really, really tough negotiators to deal with. We've seen that with Lacazette and everything else. But it looks like the initial testing the water and the possibility of throwing Guendouzi in the mix was not enough. So they're going in there with straight money. And it's been made very, very clear that Mikel Arteta and the club really, really like this guy. And this is who they obviously look at and see as being the priorities. So we're going to find out very, very soon as to whether these reports are true or not. But if they are, then I will be very happy. And the other reason is because there'll be a welcome video. Just keep an eye out for that. So there we go. That is it for today's DT's Daily. As usual, let me know in the comment section what you think about today's topics. Let me know what you think about this situation, Arsenal fans. Would you be very, very happy with this signing? And if I didn't pronounce his surname properly, then how the hell do you pronounce it? If he does become an Arsenal player, I'm going to have to learn it. So, yeah. If you're new around here, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you smash a like on this video. And I will see you lot soon. I'm out of here.